people that are properly autistic, they do have problems with like social cues and interpreting jokes and stuff like that.
Yes.
How have you like dealt with that? Being autistic, you've been open that you are.
Yes, I've just learned. It's not a skill that I can't learn. You know, it's not like I don't understand it forever and then it's done. It's just that I don't have the natural inclination to learn it. So I have to be like told or learn through like trial and error. But I've gotten very good at it, at least in my opinion. So
does it take effort, or has it like just become second nature?
It takes effort at first, but then eventually it becomes second nature, like any skill. You know, driving initially takes effort, but then it becomes second nature once you do it for a while, right?
Yeah.
It's like anything.
Because you saw Salvo as a troll from day one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and I felt like Flamenco just couldn't pick up on that. Or if he was, he just didn't want to believe it, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but the difference between me and I guess some other autistic people is that, like, you know how every autistic person has, like, not just one, but, like, a couple, like, obsessions or whatever that they, like, dig into and figure out every detail? For me, that is learning social skills and learning how humans, like, interact and stuff like that. And psychology, so, like, that's why I think I seem like a lot less autistic than other autistic people my age, potentially, because that is one of the things that I've actively always went out to improve, and I'm very ambitious as well. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Toxic.
Do you think you've had like friendships ruined or bridges burned because of your autism and like not being able to have social cues, I guess you could say, or something like that?
Not really. I feel like every falling out I've had is the fault of the other person. Honestly.
Is that the autism, maybe?
That might be.
Yeah, I've had some pretty shitty experiences like online. I mean, if I said the details, I think you would agree. And like I stay friendly with like a lot of people. It's very rare that like I have falling outs with people. I mean, I've definitely upset people and have like caused issues possibly due to my autism, but you know, if they're a good friend, we'll like, you know, patch it up and then I'll say sorry and stuff and I'll learn genuinely from my mistake. I don't really think I make the same social mistake twice typically.
Yeah, I think
since hold on. Sorry, Matt. We keep interrupting you, but this is just juicy to me, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you this, okay? Have you ever seen the show Love on the Spectrum?
Yes.
Great question. What do you think?
Okay. What do you think about that show?
The first season was very like, I mean, every autistic person's different, but I feel like, especially with the first season, it got better with the second season, but they represent a lot of like lower functioning autistic people, and I don't think it represents the vast majority of autistic people that show. Second season more so. There's a couple that were like, and people that were like, you know, more typical of, you know, the average autistic person. I think, especially in the first season and even the second season, like they do this thing where like they have the autistic people go on a date, but then they show like angles of other people around them going on the date, and they're like, look at all these normal people dating, and then look at these retards dating, and like they have like the most like unflattering photos of them as like the cover art on Netflix, and I'm just like, I know why they do it for clicks, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's sensationalized to an extent. Yeah.
Yeah, they really.
Overall, I'm glad the show exists because it does like showcase like genuine things about autistic people, but a lot of it is overplayed, and I do kind of roll my eyes a bit when people are like, I learned so much about autism from Love on the Spectrum. I'm like, okay, like,
sure.
I don't know. It's like you learned a lot about cooking from like How to Cook 101 on like WikiHow. Like that's like the equivalent. I don't know. Like it introduces people to like basic concepts, but I don't think.
Well, I wanted to ask you, do you like vibe with this in any way? So I remember there was this one guy, and he was really into dinosaurs.
Yes.
Right. And they like ask him, if she didn't like dinosaurs, is that a deal breaker for you? And he's just like, yes, but he makes like this, like you can tell by his body language that he is just no. Like, no, if you don't like dinosaurs, get the fuck out, bitch. Right?
Yeah, he's thinking very binary, because when they asked that question, he probably interpreted it as in they hate dinosaurs, right? Not that they just are not interested or
Is
whatever.
that how someone with autism like interprets that? Is either they like it or they hate it?
Well, if his obsession is dinosaurs, right? He's like so into it that he can't like think outside.
he had Asperger's.
He can't put his mind in like someone else's shoes to. He doesn't know what it's like to not love dinosaurs.
Okay.
So any inclination that like they wouldn't love dinosaurs as much as him, he's like, whoa, like that, like that's kind of extreme, you know.
So he just assumes, like, in a situation like that, you just someone with that kind of autism assumes that everybody just likes what he likes, and he can just walk up and talk to anyone.
No, he doesn't assume that everyone likes what he likes, but he doesn't think that he can get along with someone who doesn't like what he likes due to his limited knowledge of how people with different interests can get along. In the second season, I think he came back and said that he is okay with dating someone who isn't in love with dinosaurs. So he improved in that area. And by the way, you say his type of autism, he has the same type of autism as me. I've just been more proactive in like, you know, improving socially. Whereas, he did it a little later in his life. He's not any different from me.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
I've also noticed with those people on the show, they tend to get. I don't think you've had this, right? Because you've been on the internet, exposed to a lot of like dissenting opinions, and people aren't always going to agree with you and stuff like that. So you were exposed to it, right?
Yeah.
But I find with a lot of the people that they have on that show, they are also very mummy coddled. They're very shut in kind of autistic people. Where, I mean, who's that one guy, that Australian dude? He's he kind of comes across as a serial killer.
He's like, the like slightly chubby
the one
guy?
that thinks he's a Chad.
Yeah, the one like at the very beginning who we went in with a suit, and then he got the girl like super anxious and she had to leave in the first day.
That guy. Yeah. Like they get people like him that have been completely sheltered from the world. So
yeah, a huge factor for that is, I think that's mostly the parents' fault. Honestly, I think it's a mixture of both, because autistic people like the familiar, but in order to properly like raise an autistic person, in my opinion, you have to encourage, or for anybody actually, you have to encourage them to get out of their comfort zone, especially when getting out of that comfort zone is skills that you would need like in real life as an adult. I don't think they properly trained or raised that person to be independent. I think they kind of, and it's not like their fault. I think when they got the diagnosis of autism for them, I think they think that like it is something permanent, but I think they think it's something that can't really be improved. So they just try to make do with like the mental state they're at in that time, and they think they have very short-term solutions rather than long-term solutions. Like a long-term solution would be like teaching the child to be comfortable outside their comfort zone, even if they like scream or cry or whatever, in order for them to be prepared for an adult. But a short-term band-aid issue would be like, okay, let's just not have him socially interact because it stresses him out. It's too much work. All right. And it's why on the shows you see a lot of these parents who are like crying and saying like, I'm so happy with how far they've come. I had no idea they would get to be this like functional, because when they got the diagnosis, they thought the kid would act like that forever. They thought it was like there's no way of them learning social skills. It's impossible. So that's why they're like shocked by the improvement, right? And they're like emotional about it. So I don't think they're bad parents in the sense that they don't care about their child. I just think they don't know how to raise an autistic child, and I don't blame them at all, because the resources out there for autistic parenting, especially like back when these 20-year-olds were like kids, like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even today, it's not the most accurate thing ever, right? My mom also had similar issues with raising me. So, yeah.
Do you ever wake up and like, I mean, it's a morbid thought, right? But do you ever wake up and you're just like, thank goodness I landed on this side of the spectrum?
Oh my God.
No, because I'm on the same side of the spectrum as
but
all those people on Love on the Spectrum.
If you were low functioning autistic.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Do you wake up every day and say, thank God I'm not born blind?
Oh,
Like, I mean, if I was low functioning autistic, I'd be like nonverbal or whatever. It'd be horrible, but like I don't think about that because I'm not that, right? Like you don't wake up every day thinking like, oh, thank God I'm not blind. Thank God I don't,
Beaver,
you know.
Did you just ask Bo Black? Does he wish he was low functioning autistic?
Or like
No,
I'm thankful that I'm not.
I was
guess,
asking if
but
he's
I'm
thankful
also-
that he's not. Because
I'm
it's like
also
with Matt,
thankful.
right?
I'm also thankful I don't have an extra leg. I'm thankful I don't have a tumor. I'm thankful I'm not like
I wish I had
allergic
an
to
extra leg.
fucking water.
wish
Like,
I
I
wasn't
don't know.
blind.
Like I'm thankful. You know,
No,
like
but
what?
the way that I was coming at it was like, take Matt for example. Matt has lost his leg, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are lots of times when Matt like does something and he thinks to himself, "Fuck, I'm below the knee," right? Because if he was
Sure.
above the knee, he would have a completely different life. He's lost the leg. He is afflicted by, you know, this. I guess they are different, but that was my
Well,
thought pattern with that.
well,
But yeah, I get where you're coming from. You don't like wake up
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Thank God I'm not a potato."
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
God.
Maybe the more accurate way to phrase that question is: do you ever wish you were not autistic? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yeah.
Because like you're kind of comparing it like, does Matt
guess
ever
that's
wish
a-
he had a leg? Right.
Bo Blacks, do you ever wish that
Yeah.
you were not autistic?
There you go.
I did when I was a teenager, not now.
Now you embrace
Are you
it.
one of those?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you embrace it, or you want to? Like, I get embracing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am, kind of thing. But I'm not gonna lie. Those people that say it's like a superpower, those people can fuck right off.
Are you telling
You
me
know
to
what I
fuck off?
You think it's a
do you?
superpower?
Well, I mean, that's kind of an extreme. There's benefits and negatives to it. I think it's a difference rather than a disability. Obviously, there's like stuff that would come easier to me if I was neurotypical, but there's also stuff that comes easier to me because I'm autistic and wouldn't come as easily if I were neurotypical.
Dude, I would take being like an autistic dude who could draw really well. Like I'd do that. I'd be that autism. Like I would take that autistic trait easily. You know what I mean? So like being autistic can be cool, I guess. Just you know,
I mean,
sometimes
it's
you just
not
don't get
that
jokes.
like
It's okay.
being autistic is you don't have the mental tools to naturally learn social skills, but you can manually, like any other trade or any other skill. So it's something I can remedy. But then I also have the benefits to it. So if I can, you know, it's like a neurotypical is like a computer that comes out of the box and works really well, but they're a mid-range computer. An autistic person is a high-end computer that's optimized super poorly, put together super poorly, to the point where it runs worse than the mid-range computer, the neurotypical. But if you improve yourself, you have higher potential than the neurotypical computer because, you know, you have more powerful parts. You're just not using them correctly. That's how I see it.
I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from because I have ADHD, right?
Yes,
I
do as well.
I'm a pretty smart dude. So the way that I always have viewed it is, it was nature's way of putting me in check. It was like, you're gonna be smart,
Maybe.
but we're gonna fuck you over just a little bit, make it a little bit hard.
I kind of feel the same way. Sometimes I do think if I was neurotypical or whatever, how OP would I be? But the thing that really bothers me, or like I struggle with mentally way more than autism, is ADHD. And once I got on medication for that shit, I've become fucking so OP, dude.
Let me ask you this, Bo Black.
It's life changing.
Does the internet does the internet help or hinder people with autism? Because I've seen people like you who are kind of in the spotlight. I can see that you have definitely like it's helped. Like the internet has helped you like with social cues and stuff. But I also see people with like autism who are in discords and stuff that just completely spiral. You know what I mean?
Christian.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
Yeah,
like,
I mean, obviously the answer, if you compare me to Christian, is that the answer is both. It just depends how you approach it and what you do and the circumstances surrounding it. You know, for Christian, it's definitely 100% a negative in almost every conceivable way. For me,
Yeah.
it's almost a positive in most conceivable ways.
right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. I think even like to a lesser extent, like maybe not even Christian, but like I notice I see a lot of autistic people will go in discords and they get baited into like these like loud arguments and stuff like that, and it just seems to hinder them a bit, and it feels like it makes them worse, you know. But then I see guys like you who have understood social cues, at least understood the fact that like this guy could be joking with me, so I'm not going
yes,
to
of course.
take him that seriously. So I've always thought that was interesting how the internet can help you guys and also hinder you at the same time?
I think overall, it's probably more helpful because even if you get in those situations where you get baited, if you have the ambition and the knowledge, you can use that as a learning experience. I've definitely been baited.
Yeah.
And had my autism taken advantage of online a lot. I'm talking more like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm not talking about today or
Right.
whenever I started doing drama. But I think it's if you have the ambition to like improve, it can definitely be a net positive for sure. But obviously, it can go wrong as well. We have
Here's
so
a
many examples
question.
of that.
Do you think Chris Chan was baited into saying what he did and it never, all that stuff with his mom never happened? Or do you think he actually did?
I think he actually did it, or she actually did it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Whoops.
I made the mistake as well. Yeah, I think they actually did it. But I think if she wasn't on the internet over the last like 20 years to the extent she was, that would have never happened.
Do you notice a pattern with like the lolcows? There are most of them are autistic, and then you have autistic people that have like an autistic obsession with them. Do you like?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of like? I've noticed like there's a lot of autistic people who like to make fun of like lower autistic people, and it maybe makes them feel better about themselves. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever noticed that or experienced that, but I've just seen that a lot
Sure.
in the community.
So, obviously a lot of lolcows and a lot of people who follow lolcows are mentally ill, but I wouldn't say all of it's autism. There's like so many different mental illnesses. There's bipolar, BPD, brain disparity. It could be like anything. And a lot of these mental conditions have similar traits to autism.
Yeah.
So they could have autistic traits but not be autistic. I wouldn't attribute it all to autism. So when I think about these lolcows and stuff, I do think they're mentally ill, but I've never specifically been like they're all autistic,
Yeah.
Does Autism and Sonic actually have a connection, or is that just like a big coincidence?
I think certain franchises, due to like their design, have a lot of appeal to autistic people. Like autistic people get into, trains, cars, Pokemon, Sonic, Mario. I think it could happen with any like franchise or series of things that you can get into. Even like, you could just get into art or cooking or whatever. So yeah, gaming franchises and movie franchises and all that are just more possible things for autistic people to get attached to. So yeah, I do think there's a connection in that way.
Okay. What about anime?
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing.
I'm not personally into anime, but it's like I wouldn't say that these things are like every autistic person is universally gonna like Sonic or universally gonna like anime. But a lot of these different things attract autistic people because they're like just good products and good franchises and stuff that get people interested in it, neurotypical and neurodivergent. But neurodivergent people just tend to be more extreme with it due to the condition.
Are you still doing your is it Truly Autistic channel? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I just have not been in the mood or have had the passion to talk more about it. And with talking about autism, I'm much better at talking about it when people ask questions like in the vein we're doing now, rather than me just trying to like say it out of the blue, because I've lived my entire life autistic. A lot of this is second nature. And I just say this like it's common sense in my mind. And a lot of people like you and other people are like, oh my God, this is juicy. This is like cool and interesting. But to me, it's like so common sense that like I don't really know how or what to talk about on that channel. I do want to continue it, but without being like interviewed in this way, it's really hard for me to make
right
talk about it, if that makes sense.
Okay, fair enough.